Hey guys, welcome back. This is my 2022 Project Life album and it is all done. I am super proud of this. This is my 10th Project Life album. I haven't done all of them as process videos, but the fair majority of them are process videos here on YouTube. And this is just is an achievement. I feel proud to have managed to get 10 years of our lives into albums. By far and away, the most long-standing project that I've managed to date. That being said, I do feel like now's a good time to kind of change things up a little bit. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in the week. So this is the last album of this size that you're going to be seeing from me for a while. Let's just open her up and crack into it. So here we go. This is week 1, and this was a stash kit that I put together at the start of the year. And I think I put together 3 or 4 stash kits, and this just happened to be one of them. I'm still working from this stash kit now, so I started to put together some more stash kits for 2023, realized I still loved the ones that I made in 2022, and I'm going to keep using them. So I might add a little bit more to them, but I'm going to keep using them because just about every single week that I used the stash kits, I loved them. So I'm betting that your stash is similar to mine. There are treasures hidden in there. Pull them out and use them. You will not regret it. Now this was week 2 and it was a citrus twist, a very kind of, I can't remember the name of the kit to be honest, but it was very crafty themed, which was perfect for the start of the year. This page protector is a little bit of an anomaly. I put in a couple of layouts. I made a couple of layouts at the start of 2022, and these are the only 2 that I made. Well, they're the only 2 that made it into this album because they are 12 by 12 layouts. They were for some challenges on my Patreon. And so they live in here because I don't really have anywhere better to put them. But as I was flipping through this, I realized they're the only ones. So I don't think I'm going to change that in 2023. But if I do some kind of full-size layouts, they'll end up in my Project Life album. This looks like another stash kit as well. I can really only tell because of the like the mix of brands in here, but there is still a lot of Citrus Twist as well, especially when it comes to stamping and alpha stamps. This pink and teal, one of my favorite kind of colorways, and it repeats a lot. So I think one thing, if I had to kind of describe my project lifestyle, it's colorful. I love adding color to these weeks. I love looking back at these albums. I'll be honest, I'm probably the only person that does. My husband doesn't often look through the Project Life albums unless I'm pointing out something specific or we're trying to remember something specific. But I love looking through them. It's such a fun kind of exercise remembering your year. Week 6 and 7, again, this is a stash kit week for week 6, and week 7 was one, I think the first Nellie and Clem design team layout that I used. I love her printables. They're always fun and bright, so it kind of works in perfectly with my project lifestyle. Week 8 was Citrus Twist, and I was like obsessed with kind of the stamp layering. They had some amazing stamps in 2022, and I loved using those ones as well. You'll see these pink alphas repeated multiple times because they are by far my favorite and most used alpha. I love them especially for Project Life because they're just the perfect kind of little size. Pretty sure this is another stash week. I love stamping on photos. I get asked all the time how I print and edit. I print and edit at home, so I'm using Photoshop to edit my photos and to crop them. I print on just a really old, it's definitely not available anymore, or I would have bought another one because the the paper tray is broken, but a Canon Pixma. I print on Canon Photo Glossy 2 photo paper, which is why I am able to so successfully stamp directly on photos. And all of my printables I now print on Canon matte photo paper, which is perfect. I love it. So happy to finally have found a nice, readily available printable paper. Week 10 is another stash kit. I tried to challenge myself to go a little bit more neutral for those ones, and I've done that a few times this year, and I don't hate it, I've got to say. As much as I love colour, I do love kind of having some of these more neutral weeks as well, which was what this one was. I had gone through some of my rounded corner card stash and changed some of them to square corners, which is my preference. I still had a huge stash to go through, but I made a few kind of kits with the cards that I had made, and this is one of those weeks. These enlarged photos are another one of my kind of go-tos when it comes to Project Life, just because sometimes I don't have a lot of photos, sometimes I don't have a lot of stories that have photos. I love having that kind of pop of a bigger photo in a spread. When it comes to picking photos, I'm also not that choosy, so I'm not bothered if something goes in this album and in a traveler's notebook. The same thing goes with, I'm not trying to cram in every photo that I took into Project Life. These spreads are more kind of just like a weekly overview of what happened. Week 14 was another bright and fun Nellie and Clem week. And then week 15 was another one of my favourite kits from Citrus Twist. I think it was called Cravings, so food related, or not just food, but a lot of food. So this was a perfect week for that. Week 16 was another Nellie and Clem week. You can see I've got a theme. I love the colour. I love stamping on photos. Week 17, I am back into my stash. This time I didn't use a stash kit. I used a collection, and I can't remember the name of the collection, but it was Pink Fresh Studio. I think I might have used a few, actually, to be honest, but I love that kind of, I love their style. I had a great weekend doing their Create and Connect weekend, and I'm looking forward to doing it again this year too. Week 18 was another one of my favourite weeks. So I used some beads for the title, and they're so fun. It was such a fun little, like just kind of something different. I mean, I've been doing this for, like I said, 10 years. Sometimes I want to break out of the rut a little bit and do something a little bit more fun, and that was definitely one of those times. Another stash week for week 19, more pink. Pink and blue was another kind of big theme this year, and I really love that combination. As evidenced by week 20, which is pink and blue again. This is another stash kit, I think, or maybe the same one, but I love that colour scheme through there. Now week 21, I added this little 6x8 insert because it was birthday week, so there's always extra photos. I wanted to add some kind of fun cards. Again, this was that Citrus Twist Cravings kit, so there was a whole lot of kind of orange and blue and teal, which I loved because it just accidentally kind of worked in with my birthday cake. Week 22 and 23, pink heavy, and I make no apology for it. I love it. It's just it's so me, and I guess, you know, I am who these albums are for. So I made it pretty and pink. Week 24 was a bloody tough week to live through, and an exceptionally tough week to have to document. And unfortunately, there are a few of these weeks in this album. 2022 was a rough year, and from this point forward, my heart was mostly just a little bit broken. And so the colours did kind of represent that, I guess. There was a little bit more kind of softness and a little bit more simplicity in these spreads, because a lot of the time I was just trying to get through it. I'm still glad that I documented them. They just were a little bit hard. I guess especially hard having to do the voiceovers and share those sorts of things. that was rough. And I'm sure there are a few process videos on here that are rough to listen to as well. Week 26, and I'm trying to bring a little bit more color back into my life and my album, trying to focus on things that make me happy and bring me a little bit more joy, including finally meeting my crafty bestie, Alice. I am absolutely Alice. This was definitely a high point in what was a really low point in my life. Week 28, more pink. Week 29, more pink. That's a noticeable theme here. Pink and blue a lot. I love this kind of list journaling too. That was especially helpful during these kind of weeks because I kind of lost track of time a little bit in 2022. There were big periods during the year where I kind of just was getting through moment to moment. I wasn't necessarily taking heaps of photos, and I certainly wasn't writing down a lot of kind of the documenting that I was normally doing, and so putting together the weeks became a little bit harder, but I did really enjoy kind of the list aspect of journaling. It made it a little bit easier. I used the same beads again. This was a mood board challenge, so there's no process video for this here on my channel. I did this with my patrons using the mood board challenge that I provide every month. So all sorts of fun things happening on here, and I loved this kind of double stamping. This is the Spencer Alphas from Citrus Twist, and they are definitely another massive favorite. In fact, I don't know if you can use up stamps, but mine are definitely looking worse for wear because I have used them that often. Week 31 is another Citrus Twist kit and another appearance of some favorite alphas here with the rose gold puffy alphas. The kind of rosy gold, or I guess it was still kind of pink, but that warmer toned pink really made an entrance for me. I really loved it. Week 32, and I think I started getting a few Studio Calico kits. I think I had shouted myself for my birthday, and they did take an extraordinarily long time to arrive. So I'm only just starting to use them at this point in my album, and I really enjoyed having them. The quality I found a little bit questionable, and as the year went on, the price here with the exchange rate and shipping just became a little bit untenable, so I have no longer got any of those subscriptions, but I do still have plenty of cards left from the kits. Much more pink. This is another Citrus Twist week. I love it. Works perfectly because we were finally kind of starting to enter into spring here in New Zealand. This was another tough week to get through. We said goodbye to our first little fur baby, Mel. She was 16 years old, so she'd had a bloody good run, but it was still really hard being without her. Week 36, this was another Studio Calico week, another strange week with the passing of Queen Elizabeth. It was kind of really soon, I guess. It felt like a lot of grief going around. So I went back to my kind of to-dos, which was the list journaling. It really does help me in those kind of weeks. Week 37, this is another Citrus Twist week. I've been using a lot of Citrus Twist printables. I'm big into printables, I guess, with the exchange rate and shipping issues at the moment. Having printables that I can print again and again and again, I just kind of love it. They're often, well, they're just about always cheaper than buying physical product, and the fact that you get to use it more than once, I don't have to worry about any of my kind of hoarding tendencies. We've got some more list journaling going on here, and another big photo. Big photos tend to make a big impact. I kind of love them, even when they're kind of like just ordinary moments like that. Just a little bit more of a focal point on a page than having those individual kind of cards. This was another Citrus Twist week, which I really loved. Again, I've got that kind of warmer peachy pink in there. And I ended up with a blank week here, and I know why. It was because I did week 40 with my patrons again. It was a mood board challenge, and it was kind of the first October-y week, and so I put in one of the sequin mixes that I had made. But I did this before I had finished a few of these weeks, and I just accidentally did the wrong side of the page protector. So I had a bit of a blank here. I've just cut up, I've cut up a Rosie Studio paper, nothing fancy, and just put it in just so it's not blank. To be honest, I only noticed this when I filmed the quicker flip through here on my channel. If you don't want to hear me talking through my album, there is a silent version, and that was where I first noticed this page. I thought, oh, that's a mistake, but easily fixed. Week 41, another citrus twist, a lot of printables in this one, and some really kind of interesting colors. I guess the design of the kit was tending more towards fall or autumn, and so I think it still works perfectly for our time of year here. I guess spring isn't that springy, even into October, so it still kind of works for those warmer but cozy weeks. Week 42, and I dug into my October daily stash to finish up the last week of October. Well, this is the last week of October, sorry, but this was the last time that I used my stash. So the last week of October, I've gone back to kind of a little bit more of a neutral page. This was a Studio Calico kit as well, and again, I kind of loved those neutrals, but then felt the need to get a little bit more pink back in my life for week 44. I think it's still the same kit, it just added a few kind of pops of pink to go with my photos. Week 45, another incredibly sad week, saying goodbye to Little Lil. Not gonna focus on this too much because, to be honest, it's still quite raw, so I'm gonna move on. Week 46, back to neutrals again. I love this kind of neutral and green color scheme, or we'll call it teal rather than green, because if you've been around here for any amount of time, you know my feelings about green. I'm trying to be more open to it, and I thought it worked nicely kind of with the large green photo on this side. Week 47, getting closer to Christmas. I had picked out my December daily stash well and truly by this point. I was excited to use some, so I used it for week 47 despite this being still a November week. And then we fully get into December and I used up some more of my Christmas stash as well. December daily didn't sort of go to plan this year. I haven't done a whole lot in it. I think I'll pick it up again maybe in July and have another go. So it was nice to use my Christmas supplies, even though that wasn't their intended purpose. Week 49, again with the citrus twist. This was, I think, the Gathering. No, this was the Slow Days kit. It is in the shop right now and it is beautiful. The digitals are gorgeous. Week 50, back to another stash kit, and this was the same stash kit that I started the year with, and you can see I was attempting to like change kind of the color schemes with it, and week 51 was the only other week this year that was kind of a little bit bigger. This was Christmas week. I had my family here, Jack and Tracy, so there was a lot of stuff in here, a lot of Christmas stuff because I was ready to put my December daily supplies away, but I definitely had more than enough photos for a double page spread, although I have to say it was really hard trying to fit it all in video, trying to work on 2 pages at once, so it's not something that I will be jumping to again. And last week was week 52, and that's the same kit that I used for week 50. So I've been loving managing to get different styles out of that same kit, and that's what I'm hoping to achieve this year as well. So that's it. That's the flip through of my 2022 Project Life album. Love this little album. I am so ready to get it on the shelf and start on my new 2023 album. I'll be back at the end of the week to talk about that. Hey, thank you so much. If you've made it this far, well done. Congratulations. I know this was a lengthy little chatty video, but I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy seeing these process videos, and I will see you again very soon. Bye, guys.